David Odell. Today I'm going to show you how to extend your landing and build new steps. Take a look here what we have right now. We've got 10 steps going down. I think we have what do we got? We have about 73 inches from point A to point B. And we're going to go with 7 1/4 inch step heights all the way down. And we're going to maintain a 1 foot tread. This new landing here will come out 18 inches. The reason we're going to be extending this landing right here is because there's an electrical panel. As you can see here, this electrical panel apparently needs 3 feet of standing space in front of it. So we're going to extend this down. What we're going to be doing is setting I'm going to be ripping some 2 by 8s.
See if it can focus.
We got a distance of 4 feet 1.5. Our last step would be right here, 18 inches.
This thing does not like to focus. Oh, there we go.
Alright, so now what we're doing is I'm marking out where we're going to be putting the rebar dowels in. I'm shooting some, drilling 3/8 holes into these steps straight down. I'm putting 2 on each existing tread. Now what I'm doing here is I'm getting my layout on the wall. Basically, I'm making 1 foot treads, and I'm making 7 1/4 inch step heights. Well, that includes your slope as well. So I'm ripping these boards actually to 7 inches. That'll give me a 1/4 inch, slope per tread. So I'm just plumbing up for each riser that I'm going to be putting on, so they're perfectly plumb. You can tilt them backwards if you want a little bit. I just make them plumb. It's just simpler and just cleaner looking. Now we're pounding in the dowels. I made them. I think I made them 6 inches long, so we're pounding them in about 4 inches. We're pounding them in a little bit, and then we got about 4 inches left over at the top. So I laid out one side, and now what I'm doing is I'm leveling across, because I want to keep it, I want my cross slope to be level. So instead of just doing a whole new layout, I'm just transferring my layout that I have on the house side over to this block wall. That way I know every tread will be level on the cross slope. So this plywood here, I'm going to rip this up, because this is going to be kind of like my brackets that hold the risers. So I can't use stakes, because the concrete's underneath it that we're going to be pouring over. So I'm going to cut some little brackets, 7 inch by 7 inch. So that's the step height. And then the 7 inches will be the area where I'll be able to screw through the plywood into the wall or into the house. And I'll put some blue tap cons. I think I got like 5/16 diameter tap cons, real small ones. So it's not going to be much of a hole in the wall or in the house. Very minor. And basically I went 1 inch length on those tap cons, because when I'm drilling into the house side, I don't want to drill through the paper, which is the waterproof membrane behind the stucco. So I'm just drilling about 3/4 of an inch into the actual stucco itself. That way I know that I'm not going through the paper or into the hollow wall cavity. So I'm setting up my drills here. I'm gonna work 2 battery operated drills. Plus I'll have my Hilti as well for roto hammer action. So I'll have one of my battery operated drills will be for the screws. One will be for the tab cons, and then the Hilti will be for drilling into the wall and into the house. So I don't have to change bits. I'll have every tool as I go down the staircase at hand and ready for action. So basically, like I said, it was 4 feet 1.5 inches from wall to house. I got 12-foot boards, and I really don't want to cut them 4 foot 1.5 because I have a lot of wasted lumber. I like to keep them around 4 feet because then I get 3 pieces out of each 12-foot board, and I have 0 waste. So that's why I'm putting this plywood on the sides. That'll make up my 1.5 inch spacing, and then I'll maximize my usage of my wood. So with those 2 pieces of plywood on each side, I can cut my 2x7s that I ripped exactly 4 feet, and then 2 pieces of plywood on both ends makes a nice tight fit. So what I did also is I cut each one of these risers. I have to cut in half because when you're trying to strip the forms in wet concrete and you're going down this to finish it, you can't get them out if it's a complete full length. It's just wedged in there. You'd have to do a lot of damage getting them out. So I cut them in half. Each riser I cut in half, and then I'm gonna put them back together with some wood stakes and screws, and that's what's gonna hold them as one piece. And then it's easy to remove as I go down on the wet concrete, getting a finish on it. So here it is. Here's the system right here. This is the easiest system if you don't want to use any staking material, nothing in the concrete. So you hit easy to strip, easy to finish. There's the plywood that I cut, the 7x7s, and I screwed those into the end of the 2x7s that I ripped. And then I just attach it to the wall in the house. Like I said, I got the short screws, so we're just barely getting into the stucco. I'm putting 2 screws on each side, and these are, I think, 5/16 diameter screws, 1 inch long tap cons that are going into the wall and into the house. Now when I drill these, I don't drill them deep, so we're not going through the paper, the waterproof paper backing behind the stucco. And that's why you go with the short screws. So we're almost down to the bottom here. It's working out real nice. My layout was right on when I got from the top to the bottom. We maintained that 7 1/4. That 7 1/4 is not really riser height. That's actually to the end of the nose, you know, with your slope. So we put each riser in here as 2 pieces. We screw it together, and then we have a full step. This is some used motor oil that I drained out of my truck, and I put it back into the new cart containers. I save all my motor oil, and then I use it for form oil. It works out real nice. I got about another 5 gallons. I only use about 3/4 of a gallon of Mobile One synthetic on this. The reason I'm putting this oil on here is because when I get ready to strip these forms and the concrete's wet, the forms won't stick to the concrete and they'll come off nice and clean without damaging the concrete. So this is what it looks like before you pour. I got 2 bars running the length. I've got another bar going across every 2 foot, as well as dowels every 2 foot. And I got 1 runner down the middle. That just gives me a little strength down the middle so I can actually walk up and down on that 2x4 without the forms moving. Surprisingly enough, it was able to hold me and 2 people actually on those risers without it moving. And there's actually no uprights holding that up, just the screws on the sides, and that's it. Now I'm putting concrete glue on here. This is the morning of the pour. I've already put some glue in my little pump up sprayer, $10 sprayer. I'm spraying it onto the concrete, the existing concrete, spraying it all over the rebar, everything, other than not the forms, of course, because you don't want the concrete to stick to the forms. But even if I did with that oil, it probably wouldn't work anyway. So here we are. We're pumping some concrete in now. We start on the bottom. We're working our way backwards to the street. Basically, I got a really nice mix here. I'm putting it in here at about a 4-inch slump, 3,000 psi, and I've got a 1% puller set in here. So it's gonna dry nice and quick. This side of the house is windy, cold, and no sun, so I'll put some extra stuff in here to kick it off. And then I'm just kind of walking up that 2x4 runner I have up the middle, walking right up the steps that are suspended on either side. Zero movement on these forms as we poured them. Right now I'm using a wood hand float, or is that the trowel that I'm doing right now? Oh yeah, right now I'm using my 1 foot wide trowel, square trowel, and a hand edger, and I'm just kind of slipping it under. I'm slipping my trowel underneath the form, and you know that's about an 1/8 inch going underneath that form, so probably ending up with an 1/8 inch slope on these treads. So I'm going under an 1/8 inch, and then I've got a 1/4 inch. But yeah, you're gonna have an 1/8 inch slope on these treads, real minimal. Which breaks down to about 1% slope down on these steps. Anyway, I'm troweling these out, pulling the forms off, and I'm going downhill. My son Tyler's behind me. He's getting all the screws out. I'm just knocking them loose as I go down. I'm running a cove tool on the bottom, 1/2 inch cove. I'm running a 1/2 inch top tool as well. And the quality of concrete makes a big difference when you're doing any kind of finish. This happens to be really good quality, so it's finishing real easy. A lot of butter on it, a lot of cream, and it's standing up real good. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention I put fiber mesh in here as well, so I'm able to strip it a little bit earlier than normal, and the fiber helps hold its shape without it falling down or moving. It's a kind of important thing to know whenever you're doing it, cantilever or steps or anything. You can get on them a little bit earlier than you normally would without zero movement. Now I'm going down this thing for my second pass, and I'm just kind of brooming it up. I ripped this plywood here. That's what I use to go down on these. I ripped plywood runners that I could stand on each tread going down. There's your finished product right there. You can't even see the holes in the walls or the house because they're so minimal. We didn't have any splattering. Normally you'll get some splattering on a pour like this. Anyway, it came out good. I got a lot more to show you in the future. If you have any questions, comment.